And now, let us begin with our one power affirmation. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And now, just a few quick reminders about all that's going on here at our Unity Center.
We are pleased to announce the return of Mark Nepo as our guest speaker on Sunday, January the 10th. Mark says that 2020 was a trying year to be sure, yet all of the world's wisdom traditions speak of renewal in the face of suffering. So how do we accept and begin again in a way that is more giving and more loving? Join us on this special Sunday as poet and philosopher Mark Nepo guides us on an exploration of this most timely theme. And on our first Sunday of the new year, Reverend Rick Rogers will take us through the Unity White Stone Ceremony, which can help you overcome blocks to your spiritual growth and is said to set the stage for ascension to a new personal level of consciousness. The White Stone Ceremony was written about by Unity mystic Emily Cady, and Reverend Rick Rogers is a revered teacher, so we are excited to be bringing this powerful metaphysical practice to you as a beautiful way to begin 2021. And to ensure 2021 is your best year yet, on Wednesday, January the 6th and 13th, we are exceptionally pleased to present Fresh Passion, Finding Meaning in the Second Half of Life. Reverend Bob Trask writes, "The first half of life was an adventure of discovering self and developing wisdom. In this beautiful second half, we can find deeper joy, closer relationships, daily laughter, and a fresh passion for life. Attend this powerful class over just 2 Wednesday evenings with the amazing Reverend Bob and learn 6 extraordinary techniques for staying healthy, confident, and forever young. The class begins at 7 p.m. and links can be accessed in our weekly email and at unityofvancouver.org.
Holy Spirit, creator and life of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we also release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. May these words be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
Thank you, Beverly, for that incredible a cappella version of the song that you wrote together with Tom Arntzen. We're so blessed to have you and so blessed to enjoy that song. It's a beautiful, beautiful number. I just wanted to take a moment with the larger group. On Christmas Day, we had a lovely service, and we were able to share a very significant development, and that is that Unity of Vancouver has agreed with Reverend Bob Trask that he shall, moving forward, beginning on January 15th, to serve as our senior minister. And so I wanted everybody to join with me in just giving him a wave and a welcome, that he is somebody I've known for a long time, and somebody who we've all been coming to develop a deep affection for. And so with that said, please allow me to introduce Reverend Bob for his first meditation as the new senior minister at Unity of Vancouver.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Janet. Thank you all. Thank all of you in the congregation for welcoming me and letting me be part of your most magnificent team. I'm deeply honored. Can we all just close our eyes for a moment and just settle ourselves down? Put the bottom of your back up against the back of the chair and your feet flat on the floor. And I ask that you just relax. Know that all is well. All is well. Goodness, Godness, Christness is in charge. All is well. And if you will just now take a full breath in through your mouth and hold it for about 3 seconds, and then let it go through your nose. And as you let it go, just let your shoulders relax and let your whole body just fall. And you may take the breath in through your mouth and let it go through your nose, or vice versa, but let both of those come into play, if you will. And just relax. Just let go. There is nothing anywhere in the universe greater than the light shining in you, the light of God. And there's nothing, no matter how dark, no matter how troublesome, that's greater than your ability to withstand and overcome. You've done it thousands of times before, and you will do it again. So right now, let's just be peace, breathing gently in, holding it for 3 or so seconds, and then breathing out, and let your exhale be at least twice as long as your inhale. I'll be quiet for a few minutes and just let you do that. There is a soft light burning in your heart. It's a warm light. It's not a visible light. It's a light that reaches as the grace of God, coming in from the magnificent abyss that is all mind and all thought, coming in directly to your thought and into your mind and into your heart, and creating you, actually creating you at this moment. And you can feel its creative light glowing in your heart. And feel it now expanding. And so that it's filling your whole body, every cell, tingling with the zeal of love, with the zeal of passion, with the zeal of God's healing and enlightening grace in you, as you. Oh, you gentle, gentle being of God, can you remember who you are by just disremembering all of the stuff that's in the way between you and your divinity? Let that stuff go. You are forever. You were never born. You will never die. You are eternal. And in this universe, no less than the trees and the sea and the stars and the mighty snow-capped mountains, you have a right to be here and to be fully you.
I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me.
Good morning, my dear friends. Good morning and happy Merry Christmas. The season goes on. Hanukkah goes on. Christmas goes on. The light and the Spirit of God goes on. That light of God that I talk about, I'm not talking about some holy thing that's a metaphor for God. That's a pretense of God. That's a guy in the sky or some celestial picture. I'm talking about the real God. I'm talking about the divine presence. I'm talking about that magnificence that manifests itself with us as bodies, as trees, as the sky, as clouds, as wind and rain and snow and glorious sunshine, especially here in the Northwest, glorious sunshine. No one in the world enjoys sunshine more than we do. Isn't that true? I mean, I lived in San Diego for a long time. I lived in New Mexico for a long time. You just take sunshine for granted. Just It's another 75-degree day. Yeah, so what? Here it's so precious. The sun's shining. Everybody come outside. It's wonderful. Anyway, we are so gifted by the flow of grace into this universe. And you know, an interesting thing is that the things I mentioned, like the sky and the clouds and the mountains and the trees and the rivers and ponds and little children and their laughter and the tears on their faces and little kittens and puppies curled up to sleep, all of those magnificent things that awaken inside of us something special and something precious. We don't have a name for that, do we? We don't know what that is. I mean, in my language, I call it joy, which is very different than happiness. Because happiness is a sometimes theme. It's a reactionary emotion, but joy is a state of mind, it's a state of being. And so when I talk about the clouds and the mountains and the sea and the children and the puppies and kittens, when I'm talking about all of that, what I'm not talking about are the physical beings with them. I'm talking about that feeling. Because that feeling is the presence of God that we call joy. Because joy is the fruit of the angels. And joy is our basic foundation. It's really the only religion. If we're not in joy, nothing in the world works. But if we're in joy, everything works. Because you see, we came here to be miracle workers. That's what we came here for. You came here to be a miracle worker. And I think that you, like most of us, think of miracles as those unattainable things, those things that just can't be explained, that are very, very seldom. Very seldom. Your heart is about the size of your fist. Will you just put your fist up in front of you and look at it? The size of your fist. That's the size of your heart. And it's pumping every day, every day. Now think back over how many years you've lived. Think back how many days that is. Let me tell you that you're pumping 20,000 gallons of blood a day. A day. Maybe I have that wrong. I think I have that wrong. It's a wonderful thing to be on the air when you can't say cut. Let's do that again. But I don't mind if you don't. We're pumping 20 of those big 50-gallon drums. You know, those big 50-gallon drum, big blue drums you see kind of in construction sites. We're pumping 50 of those, or 20 of those. Come on, Bob. 20 of those each day from your heart, the size of your fist. Want a miracle? Want a miracle? There's a miracle. I could go on and on with the miracles in your physical body that just don't even make sense. It's so extraordinary. Like if your DNA were unraveled, you could unravel your DNA and lay it out, it would go from here to here, from here to the moon and back. Not once, but a lot of times. Not possible, is it? It's a miracle. See, we live in miracles and we take them for granted. Do you know a fish swimming through the sea has no idea what water is? Doesn't know what water is. Never considers water. It's just a constant around them. It's a part of them and they're a part of it and they don't even think of it. That's us in grace. That's us swimming through grace. And the miracle that comes with that, the miracle making ability that comes with that, allows you to go forward and live the life that you came here to live, filled with purpose. The thing that holds us back is the big sack of stuff that we're carrying behind us. And unlike Santa Claus's bag, which lifts up and carries them through chimneys, this one drags us down, doesn't it? Pulls us down, makes us feel less than we are, makes us feel less than we are, because we are incarnations of Holy Spirit. You and I are incarnations of the same being, which means that you and I are the same. We're not only brothers and sisters, we came from the same source. You and I are one. And that's the miracle. And what we spend our time trying to do is create relationships with each other. But we've got this big bag over our shoulders. And in there are doubts and resentments and old hurt feelings and old shames and guilts and disappointments. And also there's lots of good stuff in there. But the weight of the other stuff pulls it down, doesn't it? Pulls it down and makes it hard for you. And you know, if you're like me, you pay no attention to that stuff. You just look away because it's too painful and you don't want to be brought down. So you just look away from it, but it's still there because it's your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is enormous. It's enormous. Subconscious mind, 95% of the thoughts that we think today are thoughts we thought yesterday and the day before and the day before that. Why is that? Because the subconscious mind is dominant. It's 75% more powerful than the conscious mind in terms of its presence in our daily life. When you get in the car to go somewhere that you're familiar with, you get in the car, you close the door, you fasten your seatbelt, you start the engine, you look in the mirrors, you adjust everything, you turn on or off the radio, turn on or off the heater, drive back out of your driveway, go down, stop at a stop sign, go down, stop at a light, turn left, turn right, go straight, and you do all of that, and then you get to where you're going, and you close the door, and then you walk up to, and just before you go into that building, whether it's a home or a store or whatever, someone could step up to you and say, tell me exactly what you did to get here. You really have no idea because your subconscious mind put you in the car and drove you there. That's the beauty of it, is that we don't have to keep learning every single day how to do something. The bad news is that we continually do the same things and think the same things. 95% of the thoughts we thought yesterday, we think today. That means 95% of our behaviors today are the same as yesterday. But you're not that limited. You have incredible power, an incredible mind. You can do anything you dream of. See, here's the way it works. So you want to create something, and it's going to take a miracle. Okay, I got that. It's going to take a miracle to do that. So you say, well, I want a new house. I want a new home. I want it to be 4 bedrooms and 3 baths and a big living room and big dining room. And in the dining room opens off like a big, beautiful kitchen with all the best appliances and a nice big deck in a backyard that looks out onto the forest or onto the sea. And that's what I want. But of course I can't have that. Of course I can't have that. That's the bag speaking, isn't it? That's the bag. That's the memories. That's the belief system speaking. I'm not worthy of it. There's other people that have it. There's lots and lots of other people that have that, but I can't have that because I've never had that. I've never experienced it. So it's not a familiar experience to me. So I don't know that I can create it. And if you don't step out of the box, then you not only don't get what you dream, you don't fulfill your life's purpose. And your life's purpose was, in fact, to create miracles, to become a miracle worker. Isn't that what Jesus said? Isn't that what he said? Didn't he say, these things you see me doing, you will do these and even greater? And didn't he tell us that if we had the size of a mustard seed of faith, that we could say to a mountain, move, and that mountain would move? Isn't that what he said to us? And yeah, we believed it until it came down for us to actually do it. So when we look out there into that great void, that great miracle void that we call space, that space is not empty. It's unmanifest reality. It's unmanifest. Now that we have computers, we can put whole libraries of books in one computer, whole libraries of books in one computer. And you turn on the computer and boot up your monitor and you look out there and I say, I don't see, there's supposed to be 100,000 books in here. I don't see them. You look off into space, you don't see the quadrillion, million, zillion, billion of all the things that are possible out there, the unlimited number of things that are possible. You don't see them because they're all filed invisibly. You have to call that file number out. So I want that house. So I envision that house. I can see the hardwood floors. I can see the timber in the hardwood floors, the grain. I can see that amber, beautiful reddish polish gleaming. I can see the carpets and the walls, and I can see the different paintings on the walls and the huge windows that are looking out on the magnificent view. And I can see the bedrooms, and I can feel the solidness and the comfort of these rooms and the oneness and the loveliness of the family feeling here and the place for guests and the yard in the front. Oh, it's so beautiful. I just love it. And the trees around. And I look out into the backyard, and the backyard is all sculpted, and it's just what I wanted. And maybe there's a pond, or maybe there's a beach, or maybe the forest is right there. And the deer come back into the yard, and the rabbits, and once in a while a coyote, or even maybe a cougar or a bear. And there I am in this beautiful, beautiful place. And what do I feel now? My friend, what do you feel? That feeling, what is that feeling? That's the joy, isn't it? That's the bliss. That's the presence of God. That's joy. What you're feeling is joy. And that's the connection between you and the invisible library. So when you feel that feeling and you hold that vision and the two of them together, then that invisible thing comes back out of the filing cabinet, forms into a reality, and is drawn to you. That's called working a miracle. That's called working a miracle. And you can do it. And in fact, you have been doing it your whole life, haven't you? But the only difference is that the miracles that you've been creating are ones that you felt sure you could do. If I work hard and save my money and do this and do that, then I'll be able to do this or do that. Do you know that there are several people who won the lottery? I mean, millions of dollars in the lottery. There's several people who have done that, and they did it more than one time, sometimes 2 or 3 times. Now, how is that possible? That's a good question. How is that possible? Is it possible that it could be due to their mind, that they actually have that kind of mind power? Well, our purpose here is to create miracles, as I said. And our purpose here is then to get back into that bag and unload the stuff out of it that holds us back. So today is Burning Bowl Sunday. So toward the end of the service, we're going to have a bowl. Mary, my wife Mary, and I, you'll get to meet her. We're going to have a bowl, and we're going to have a candle in it. We're going to burn the things that we want to get out of our lives, things that we've been hanging on to, moods or remembrances or feelings of inadequacy or whatever it is. We're just going to burn those, and we're going to release them. And I want you to be able to do the same thing. So I want you, before the service is over, to also have a bowl, maybe, or maybe you could just take these eventually and flush them down the toilet. That's another way to just let them go, get rid of them. But anything, whatever we're going to do today is we're going to get rid of the things that hold us back and take one step closer to having that Christ consciousness within us. That powerful Christ consciousness, which somebody said to me the other day, you talk about us being Christs and you talk about us having a Christ consciousness. You're really putting yourself up, aren't you? You're really glorifying yourself. And I said, no, I'm not. This is the most powerful state of humility there is to say, I am nothing more than Christ. I am not famous. I'm not rich. I'm just a Christ consciousness. I'm just Saint Francis of Assisi, walking my sandals or walking barefoot, but the only thing I have in my life is my robe and the rope around my waist. I'm just a poor Buddhist walking the streets with my begging bowl, blessing people and being kind and being loving. I'm Gandhi, who here, as you well know, our two countries, America and Canada, fought in the Revolutionary War, and England fought, and we all killed each other, slaughtered each other, and made a heck of a mess out of our brotherhood and our sisterhood. We felt that's the way you had to do it. Then along came Gandhi, whose country was completely populated and run and managed and administered by the British government. And Gandhi, one little short man, little quiet man, brought the entire English empire's defenses and offense for services to their knees and had them leave, and he just loved them. He just loved them. Never fired a shot. If you'd have said to Gandhi in the beginning, when he had just become an attorney and he was on a train out of Africa heading back to India, if you'd have just said to him, you know, the British Empire controls all of India, and there are huge clashes between the two religious factions there, and people are dying, and it's a real mess. Do you think that you can garner enough grace, you little man, can garner enough grace and enough power to encourage the British Empire to go back home and let you run India on your own? Do you think you can do that? If he thought about that, I mean, if he intellectualized that, it would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? I mean, oh my God, I don't know how I could do. And maybe he wouldn't have thought that was because he was pretty spiritual. But see, here's the thing: if you or I were offered that kind of challenge, it would scare the heck out of us. But see, he didn't see it as something greater than him. In his humility, he saw himself being a servant of the light. And as a servant, you trust the source, which is the great wisdom and intelligence of the living God, the great presence, the great mind. You trust that, and you do its will. It's humility. It's absolute humility. So let me look at my notes here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So the miracle of your life. When you think of working a miracle, when you want to accomplish something, Joseph Campbell, dear late Joseph Campbell, said that wonderful phrase. He said a lot of wonderful phrases, but this one really stuck with me, is follow your bliss. And what that means is follow your joy. It's metaphysical, but it's really deeply spiritual. Follow your joy. You see, the joy is the connection, isn't it, between us and God? So when we follow our joy, we're following God. When we follow our joy, we're following God. And so if you have had a dream, maybe you woke up from a dream and you said, wow, man, I didn't think that kind of feeling was possible. I must just briefly tell you a dream I had that changed my life. Just a dream. It was just a dream. It wasn't a visitation. It was just a dream. I was sitting in an office space, and there was a window, and the window looked out on a dock, and there was a beautiful boat sitting at the dock, about a 50-foot boat, maybe a Grand Banks, and it was just a beautiful boat. And over to my left, there were some glass French doors that opened out into a hallway, and then beyond that into a big meeting room. Oh God, it was beautiful. It was like a luxury hotel. It was so beautiful. And I was sitting at a desk, and I had a computer in front of me, and I was writing a book, and I was so happy with this book. It was coming. It was everything I wanted to say. It was just beautiful. And some friends of mine came up and looked in the door and said, well, we're going to go out and catch some fish for supper. You want to go with us? And I said, and you know, I'm a fanatic fisherman. I said, no, I don't think I'll go with you. I think I'm going to stay here and work on this. They said, okay, well, we're going to go. So they went out, got on the boat, and I kind of watched through the window as they got on the boat, and then they went out. And I was so filled with joy. Oh God, it was just like this was heaven. Jesus said to us, the kingdom of God is within you. He didn't actually say this, I don't think, but I believe he would say this if he was asked. Don't think that you're going to die and go to heaven, because that isn't going to happen. You're either in heaven or you're not in heaven. That's your choice. You think that you're going to hang around here and kill time, and then when you die, you're going to go to a place where the streets are paved with gold and there's angels with harps. Ain't happening, bud. Heaven is here inside of you. Open up and see it. Well, in this dream, by golly, I did. Oh, wow. I just have never felt such joy. After a while, the boat came back in and they got off the boat, and one of one of them was carrying this big fish. It was about 2 or 3 feet long, and it was multicolored. It was a gorgeous fish. And as they walked by the French doors, he said, "See what we got?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we're going to fish this for dinner. This is going to be great." I was so thrilled. When I woke up, I said, "That's my vision. That's my goal. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to be." Now, will that room with the French doors and the dock and the boat and all that, will that actually occur? It doesn't matter. What matters is that I follow that because it's an emblem of my joy path. I refocus on that. And when the things start getting down and things feel like they're falling apart, I refocus on that and I go in that direction. And by golly, that will happen. Now, it might not be exactly that, or it might be exactly that. I don't know. But that joy will be in me. And the thread of that joy coming back to me now into my heart pulls me forward along that line. So have you had that kind of a dream? Or have you just dreamed of having that? Either one works. Have you dreamed of having that kind of joy? My friend, I want to tell you that that's what we're here for. Don't listen to those people that say we're here to suffer. We're here to go through hard times. Yes, we'll suffer, and yes, we'll go through hard times, but those are building blocks. Those are what the guys do when they go to the gym and they lift weights. It hurts their muscles, but they're growing in strength. And every time we face one of those great challenges, we're growing in strength. But we can't grow in strength if we don't have the proper attitude and the proper mechanism to make that happen. And that bag we're dragging behind us with all that junk in it, all that gunk, some resentment and some hurt feelings and some, all of those add up to one thing, my friend, and that's called self-doubt. Self-doubt. My friend Paul Frey taught me that many years ago. Self-doubt, that's the name of our weakness. So you got to get those stuff out of the bag. We're going to burn some of those a little bit later. So just be thinking about them. And if you have a piece of paper there, just start jotting those down because we're going to get rid of them. Now, I can tell you that this thing of working miracles is real. I've had the really good fortune of being able to teach around the world. I've got a few 100,000 graduates of my various classes and seminars. And I've seen so many people create miracles that seemed unbelievable. There was a guy in Los Angeles years ago who was a laborer. He worked as a laborer and he came to one of my seminars and I talked to him and I said, "Ralph, what is your vision? What do you really want?" And he said, I can't. Oh, no, come on, Ralph, really tell me what you want. Lay it out exactly. He said, "Okay, here, I'll do that. I'll tell you what I want. I want to live in the Pacific Northwest. I want to have a farm. I want to own a farm. And I want to live there in a big, beautiful farmhouse. And I want to have the woman of my dreams with me, who loves me and respects me and appreciates me, and who I can do the same with. That's what I want. Oh, and I want a boat. I want a great boat, and I want to be able to go out fishing at least once a week, and I want her to go with me. That's what I want." I said, "Okay. Now I'm about to teach you something, my friend, that you might or might not want to do, but I can tell you that it'll certainly help you create your reality because it's done it for a lot of people." So I said to Ralph, "So here's what we need to do. We need to look at when you want to have that manifest. What day? What year? When do you want to have that manifest?" So he thought about it and he said, "It'll probably take me about 5 years to save up the money and, go up there and find out where that land might be in about 5 years." I said, "Okay, we'll make a 5-year goal then." So here's what we do. What we do is we go out to 5 years and we say, how will you, at the end of 4 years, how will you have to be set up? What will you have to have accomplished at the end of 4 years in order to make the fifth year work? Okay, I can do that. And then what I want you to do is do the same thing with 3 years. What do you have to accomplish during the third year in order to make the fourth year work? and the second year for the third year, and the first year for the second year. And then in the in the 12th month, what will you have to have accomplished in order to make the first month of the second year work? And then in the 11th month, what will you have to have for the 7th, back to this month? And then this week, what we have to have done in order to make next. So with this whole giant thing of having the farm and the boat and the woman and the freedom and the money, all that giant thing boils down to, what do I do today? And interestingly enough, it was just 2 little steps. It's not hard. It boils down to just a couple of steps a day. He got really excited. He accomplished his dream exactly. Ralph got his farm, his boat, and his wonderful woman in the Northwest in 6 months. In 6 months. Not possible, of course, that's a miracle. It's a miracle unless you put that huge spiritual power of yours to work, because that power is flowing through you from God, from the Creator, from Holy Spirit, as you. And if we got that bag of rocks on our back, that self-doubt, we don't know that. And Jesus kept trying to tell us that. Do it. You can do it. He'd save somebody and they'd say, oh, thank you. He said, no, your faith saved you. Your belief, your trust saved you. There were 2 women came to my seminars, one in San Diego and one in Taiwan. Both, interestingly enough, had been diagnosed with cancer that metastasized. And the doctors had said, interestingly, that each one of them had about 6 weeks to live. Now, that's not unusual in my seminars. I get a lot of people that have serious diseases or terminal diseases, supposedly terminal diseases. And some of them do die. Like, I'm not a great healer, but things happen. But the first woman, the one that was in San Diego, she said, well, I had only 6 weeks to live. And so somebody said that I should come and take your seminar. So here I am. So I said, fine. So she did the seminar and I didn't see her anymore. She disappeared. I was back in San Diego to do another seminar about 3 years later. And she was in the seminar. And I said, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? And she said, well, the doctor told me I only have maybe 6 weeks to live, so I thought I better come back and do the seminar. I can tell you what happened in the seminar. It wasn't anything other than her waking up. Her waking up, her power. The last I heard of her, she's running a cancer clinic in Los Angeles. A cancer clinic. The other one was a woman in Taiwan. I never will forget this woman because she came into the seminar, and the first day of the seminar, I looked out and saw her, and she was gray. I'd never seen a person gray before, but she was gray, really gray. So when I got a chance to talk to her, I said, what's going on? She said, well, the doctor, we're working through an interpreter, obviously. The doctor said that I only have about 6 weeks to live. And so my daughter, who's taken your seminars, wanted me to come and take the seminar. And I said, okay, fine. So we went through the seminar, and she did have some pretty big chunks in that bag that she had to get rid of. And it was not easy. She did a lot of crying and a lot of laughing and a lot of dancing. And I was away from Taiwan then for a couple of months. And when I went back to that same training room, and up on the walls, they had big printouts from newspaper showing pictures of this woman and how she had miraculously recovered from taking the seminar. Now, I was really pleased. I was really, really pleased. But I have to tell you the truth is, I wish they hadn't said that it was from taking the seminar, because then people put their attention on the seminar, and the seminar didn't do it, and Bob Trask didn't do it. She did it. You do it. You create your miracles. You don't need anybody to come. You may need someone to guide you. You may need someone to help you see where the blocks are, but you are the one who has the power. You're the one who can do it and will do it. Also in the Orient, I met a guy who was a baseball player, a professional baseball player, and he had been working for 6 years to become drafted by a major team, by a major league baseball team. He wanted to go to the majors worse than anything in the world. But over the years, his batting average had slightly increased, and his on-base percentage and his stats as a defensive player had increased, but not enough to get him into the majors. But he changed his mind about who he is, not was, but is. He changed his mind. He went into that bag and he took out the things that said, I don't know if you can hit that pitcher because that pitcher's probably better than you. And he took out all of that stuff. You're going to be in a slump. Oh, you can only bat 220. You can only bat 215. He took all that stuff out. He's now playing in the majors. I could go on and on with these stories. Oh boy, I've got a lot of them. How did they do that? I've written some things down because I wanted to make sure that I got them right for you. They believed in themselves and they believed in their visions. Now, my friends, you've got to stick with this. You believe in yourself and you believe in your vision. It's not enough to think it. And if it's going to take you a while to get to you can believe it, then okay, but work at that daily. Your vision is to believe in your vision then. Work on that self. You believe in your vision. You can do it by God. By God, you can do it. Believe in your vision and believe in yourself as that powerful, creative miracle worker, because that's who you are. And then they wrote their visions out. You've got to write it out. Do you know that people who write out their visions, most of the people who write out their visions, even not doing the spiritual stuff I'm talking about 75% of them actually get their visions, and about 5% of the people who don't write them out get them. Why? Because you need to, two things. One, you need to have that presence of your whole neurological system going through you into the pen as you write it out. And I'm not saying type it out on the computer. Write it out, your vision. Let your body, let all your system go into that. And as that whole system goes into that, then let it be real. Let it be real. And when you write it down, put it somewhere where you have to see it every day, like on your bathroom mirror. So if my vision is, I am a New York Times #1 bestseller, writer, author, and you write that and you put it up in your mirror, and you come in one day and you say, yeah, that's just a fantasy. Then you know you've got work to do. It's okay that you see that, because now you know that you got another rock in the bag. You got work to do. You've got to get that stuff out of there until finally you look at that and you say, yeah, that's true. I am a best-selling author. Yes, that's true. You got to work. You got to do that. Nobody else can do it. And that's what they did. That's what these 4 people that I just talked about did. And they knew that their ideal futures, here's a really important one. They knew that their ideal futures were the results of ideal nows. Because we don't create our future in our future. We create our future right here, right now. Right here, right now. Because it's the only place we exist. It's the only place we have any power. The only place we have any creative power. The only place we have any miracle ability. It's right here, right now. So it's right here, right now, as you're listening to me. If you think of that vision that you want to have right now, right here, if you can feel the presence of that, if you can feel the joy of having that in you, you're on your path right here, right now. And if you can keep that joy alive, if you can keep that feeling alive, if you can keep the sizzling zeal of that result alive in your heart, then you're on the path to creating it right here, right now. Then you have to have a mission, don't you? And you have to be like Ralph. You have to be able to see the end. What is the end result? And how do I get from here to there? And how I get from here to there is to start working from there backwards. And as what I do is I create. In order to do that, what would I have to do? In order to do that, what would I have to do? In order to do that, until you back it up in today. In order to have the vision that I have for this week, which will culminate to my vision whenever that, what do I have to do today? Well, I have to do these 3 things. See, you work the plan. You have a plan and you work the plan. And it's imbued and incinerated, ignited by the passion within you for your goal. And that's what you came here to do. That's why you're here, to work miracles. Because see, when you work these miracles, when you do these things, the people around you also start working miracles because they see what you're doing. That's what happened with Myrtle Fillmore. She healed herself of terminal diseases. And when she did that, she got on fire. She was glowing, and people started clustering around her. Pretty soon, she wasn't alone in her house in the afternoon, meditating and praying. Pretty soon, she had a whole bunch of people in there with her. And pretty soon, her husband, who was an insurance and real estate salesman, said, "What am I doing?" And he came back home, and he was in there with her. So you set people on fire around you, and that's your purpose. That's the Christness in you. And let's see. And then lastly, and this is really important, they did affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements about your goal, about your vision, that go back into that bag, and they dissemble those erroneous thinking patterns. So every time you say, for instance, I am a good and worthy person, every time you say that, anything in your past, anything in your memory, anything in your subconscious that says, I don't know that I'm such a good person, and I don't think I'm worthy of having all these things that I dream of, then you know you've got work to do. That's self-doubt. And so if you say, I am a good and worthy person, like 200 times a day, like for 30 days, without stopping, and if you miss a day, you start over. If you do that, believe me, I do that. I do the 200 times a day, 30 days. I know it works. If you do that, then pretty soon you're a good and worthy person, and you know it. So you can change your life. And it is your life to change. You know, I'm going to be with you in this ministry from now on. And I'm here to help you and to love you. And I can be your guide and your friend. And all you have to do is ask, and I'll help you. Now, what I'd like for you to do is get out your bowl, a burning bowl. And if you can do that, and if you have a candle that you can sit inside of that bowl, and if you don't have a bowl and you don't want to do it that way, then here's an easy way to do that. Just write down on a piece of paper what the thing is, the main thing, or the things you want to get rid of, and then in a little bit we're going to burn those. Come in here, Mary. This is my wife, Mary.
Hi.
It's time to get to meet my wife, Mary. Mary is an amazing lady. And I know you don't want me to say this, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have a nonprofit foundation called the Eris Foundation. And over the years, Mary has gathered bicycles for villages in Africa, 6,000 bicycles so far. She has created big events where she has provided food and clothing and chiropractic care and haircuts and books and groceries for thousands and thousands and thousands of families. And she's still doing that. This year she helped get clothes for the homeless and coats for the homeless and dry socks for the homeless and hundreds of toys for children of abused families. I mean, she's an on fire lady, and she keeps me on my toes. I can tell you, whenever I show up, it's because she said, "You're late, get moving." So that's Mary.
It's easy to be on fire when you're with him.
So do we have our bowl?
Yep, it's right here. Let me see if I bring it here, I think.
Well, I can move the camera. We can move the camera so it's on the bowl. There we are.
Okay.
Okay. So there's our burning bowl. And
This is what I'm getting rid of.
where's mine? I thought I had one here. Okay, I'll just, hang on. That's not a problem. Hand me a pen, please. I know exactly what I'm putting down here. All the time I've been talking, I've been thinking about it.
While he's writing, I just wanted to tell you how excited I am about the future that we have with Unity of Vancouver. And after the pandemic ends, I'm going to be so excited to be able to be with you and to get to know all of you better. And I just am thrilled to be part of the Vancouver family. So thank you so much.
The Trask family is now the Vancouver Unity family with all of you.
Here we go. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so
if everybody's ready, and we're gonna talk our way through this. Now we're gonna talk. You can turn it off just for a second. So if you'll just close your eyes for a moment. You are a child of God. You are a child of the universe. You have a right not only to be here, but you have a right to be you. And if you be you, the things you do will be expressions of you, the real you. And then the things that you have will be expressions of what you do. And all of those will be blessed. And you will be in self-love, which is the power of grace, which is the power of God's grace flowing through you. So now, if you'll open your eyes, when you take that piece of paper that has those things that no longer represent you, no longer serve you, when you have those written down there and you burn them, please see them evaporating out of your life. And then over the weeks, if you see them showing back up again, you might just want to light another fire or flush another piece of paper down the toilet. Thank you. Let's do this. Holy Spirit, great Spirit of life, I release all of those dark doubts, all of those things that do not represent you and me and our love together. I release them. They go as smoke and they disappear. And they no longer exist in me. And they no longer exist in my dear friends. They're gone forever. Thank you, Mary.
Mhm.
God bless you. Well, I'm so glad you got a chance to meet my dear Mary. You'll be seeing a lot more of her over the years. My friends, the years go by. I've had 81 of them so far. In fact, next week I'll have 82 of them. And every one of those years has had a lot of the junk from the year before loaded into it. This year, 2020, has been a bear. I mean, it has really been a dark year, a dark voyage for many, many people, and in some way for all of us. We can create the year we want if we just don't drag last year into next year. Let's let it be new. Let's let it be fresh. We here at Unity, we're building something really powerful. We're building an international community. We're going to set a fire here of light and grace that will change the world. And we need you on board with us. We need you here with your love and your grace and your smiles. Please come and be a part of it. Take our classes, teach our classes, sing with us, laugh with us, dance with us. Be our family. We need you and we sure want you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. That was beautiful. And welcome, welcome to Unity of Vancouver. We are so lucky to have you and Mary. Blessed. Thank you. I'm excited. If you're lost and lonely, go and figure out why. Take a trip to the dark side. Go on and have a good cry. 'Cause we're all lonely. We're all lonely together. I want to see your sadness. I want to share your sin. I want to bleed your blood and I want to be let in. Don't we all just want to be together? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? If your face is down, take a look around. Do your fingers move? Do your lungs inflate? Are you tired? Are you weary of the hidden hate you've been holding? Hey, did you lose that love or have you never had it? Are you feeling sad 'cause you did a bad thing? Hey, leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? 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 Are you feeling fearful, brother? Are you feeling fearful, sister? The only way to lose that fearful feeling, replace it with love that's healing. Are you feeling fearful, brother? Are you feeling fearful, sister? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind?